Hello, hello. I am Samantha Tomlinson,
And I am Kevin Tracy. Welcome back to Movie Reel, folks.
and today, yay, we have a very special guest. It's our good friend Joselyn Ponciano. Yay! Hi.
Hi.
Woo!
Hello.
Yay! The first of many guest starrings, I hope.
Hopefully, we've mentioned you,
Yeah.
Josie, a lot. You come up a lot on this.
Oh, that's
So
terrifying.
no, it's not like
Yeah. Only negative
Oh, I
stuff.
hope.
well, like I think I
Yeah.
said, like when the day comes and we review the live action Aladdin, we are only going to do that if we are not going to do that if you are not. So, like I think it was stuff like that. Like
I demand to be a
okay.
part of any Disney review.
Well, you're just in luck because today we are going to be recording Wreck-It Ralph from 2012.
That was a beautiful segue.
Thank
you're,
you.
You're welcome.
That was well timed, and yeah, I know. Like,
It only took 3 years, but we finally got a good segue.
Oh,
okay, so yeah, we watched Wreck-It Ralph.
we did, yeah.
I had not seen this until today, or when we decided to do this.
Blasphemous.
I have no real good excuse for it. I don't know. I think when it came out, I just wasn't that interested, and then I know, sorry, and
Gasp.
but no, it came out 2012, so however many 8 years ago, math, and
that is math.
However many math years ago.
it's got a nice cast. It's got John C. Reilly, Jack McBrayer, who was Kenneth on 30 Rock, Jane Lynch, Sarah Silverman, Alan Tudyk, Mindy Kaling. It's a pretty it's a solid cast. Most of the voices, I'm like, I know this voice.
Yes.
Why do I know this
and
voice?
Then a bunch of video game character cameos like Sonic, Dr. Robotnik, so on and so forth. We'll kind of get into that as we progress through the movie. But yeah, no, I hadn't really sat down and watched this whole thing from beginning to end in a long time. But it was nice kind of watching it and seeing the whole thing as it went because I'm a huge gamer, so watching it kind of through like gamer goggles was kind of a fun kind of cameo Easter hunt for me.
Easter eggs. It's definitely, if you're into gaming at all, you're gonna have fun with it. Like the Pac-Man monster leading like an anger management style. It wasn't anger management.
Yeah,
but that kind of like group therapy. And
yeah.
Bowser!
No, it definitely had like it definitely had like an Alcoholics Anonymous
100%.
vibe to it, and I was all for it. It's like, and they even have like a motto. It's like, I'm the bad guy, and that's okay. It's okay to be bad, and that's good. It's like,
so
this is
sweet.
great.
Yeah,
it's so
it's
good.
very Alcoholics Anonymous,
Yeah,
100%.
Oh yeah,
no,
it's
I mean,
fantastic.
it was more like, I don't know. It was a little nicer than Alcoholics Anonymous.
I mean, yeah.
The like Finding Nemo. That was definitely like 100% Alcoholics Anonymous. This was that style.
Yeah, the sharks.
This was more like group therapy. It was all bad guys. So yeah, basically, right in the beginning of the movie, you get a rundown. So Ralph is part of the game, Fix It Felix, and his job is literally to destroy everything. And Felix is gonna.
He's the bad guy.
And Felix is gonna fix it up. And every game ends with the people picking him up and throwing him off a building.
Yeah.
Which is like, what a life. And, for him, it's like, he's like, I'd be okay with that. But it's really, they all hate him even when the game's done.
Yeah.
Which, that has to suck.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, seriously.
100%. And it's like, what, their 30th anniversary?
Yeah, it's the 30th anniversary of the game. And the very beginning, he's telling the whole little rundown during his, what was it called?
His, like, Alcoholics Anonymous.
It had a name.
It had a name. I can't remember. It was just pretty much like bad guys, like not even anonymous. It was just a bad guy support group.
Yeah, exactly. And like Bowser was there, and
they had Zangief and Kano and Dr. Robotnik and one of the ghosts from Pac-Man was like
the
leading the group. Yeah.
Oh yes, Satan.
Oh yeah, it's like thanks.
It's
thanks. It's pronounced Satine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who was the guy which was it? The
Zangief?
muscular guy who had.
That's Zangief from Street Fighter.
He had hair. He had like a beard on his legs. That's what I noticed, and I was like,
What?
gross.
No, that was like cuff from his boots.
Oh, well, the way how high it went, I thought that was him really, like, why is his legs, that doesn't make any sense. He's not like, I don't know. I just thought that was gross. So, yeah, so he's just tired of being the bad guy, and I will say, the design for the film and the story was so good. Like, not even just the puns in the Sugar Rush game, but like just the like game Central Station, and which is basically, you can travel to any game you want.
Once the arcade is closed.
Once the arcade is closed, yes. And oh yeah, Sonic is like on like a video sign saying, if you die in your game, you die in real life, which is like, okay.
No, it's like if you die anywhere else but your game, you die for real. If you die in your game, you'll just respawn.
Yeah, that's what I meant. But he said that never. I thought that was going to be a bigger issue, and that never really came back.
I mean, it pretty much just kind of like developed like real world consequences, because you do see Fix-It Felix die in his game, and he just like respawns like 2 seconds later. Yeah. And everyone's just like, he like dies, and everyone in the game who have worked with him for 30 years, they all like collectively gasp like, oh my god, we just witnessed a murder. And then he comes back, it's like, why are you guys freaking out? You can't die in this game.
I think it's still pretty shocking.
I mean, it wasn't as much of an issue in, they were traveling between all these other games, so I thought that was going to be, towards the end, I kind of thought it was going to be more of a threat, and like someone was going to die.
Well, because they switched from that to Vanellope being a virus.
Yeah, the glitch, right? Yeah. And that it was more of like, she can't leave her game, and if their game gets shut down, she's going to die with it. It definitely gets heavy at the end, I gotta say.
Oh yeah.
No, it's very emotional, especially with like Jane. Or I also really like Jane Lynch's like super tragic backstory.
That was so her fault. She was programmed with the most tragic backstory.
Just the way that soldier just like catches like, it's not her fault. She was programmed with the most tragic backstory ever. She failed to check the perimeter during her own wedding. It's like, what?
Flashback to wedding.
Yeah, flashback to the war with the bugs.
It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so
it's always a war with the bugs. It never ends.
Basically, so Ralph, he's tired of being the bad guy, and he sees that it's it's the 30th anniversary of their game, and he sees he goes up to like, sees that there's a party going on, and he goes to like, he wants to be part of the party. And I love this awkward dialogue between him and Felix, because he's like saying, someone comes out saying, oh, there's cake. And he's like, oh, cake, yeah, I've never had cake before. I wonder what it tastes like. And Felix like, do you want to come in? And basically, everybody hates him, but they all really hate him just because of design. It's not even like his person. Like, they just hate him because he's the bad guy, which is,
it's like,
that's so unfair.
It's like, you destroy our building every day. It's like,
that's the game.
Bitch, that's my job.
Yeah, it's really weird considering everyone is very hyper aware, but I think that's where Disney is laying on their message. Like, if you're thinking about it in a deeper sense, what's the message of Wreck-It Ralph? And it is, like, they are very all aware of their situation. They're aware that they're in a game, and yet because of maybe a stereotype, they're already being judgmental against Ralph. And I think that's where like most of it kind of strems off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
it's just very like and so basically he just wants to be he just wants to be them to appreciate him. He wants to. I mean, he was aware he's the bad guy, but they don't have to be mean to him. And finally, one of them just says like, you're the bad guy. You'll always be the bad guy. If you get a medal, which Felix gets a medal, because that's when he wins the game, then we'll respect you and blah, blah, blah. So he decides to leave, and he goes there. I love how, so one of the games is Tappers, and it's a bar.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
like,
I forget what game it's supposed to be like a riff off. I think it's supposed to be it's like Diner Dash or something like some old like
No,
arcade
I
like
think Tappers
NES
was a
type game.
real
it's
thing.
Tappers.
Oh, it was the actual. Okay, I couldn't
Yeah.
remember if like that was a real game or if it was just like a parody of a pre-existing game.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that one was like an original thing. I know they had a certain amount of like real cameos and then a certain amount of like based off of real
Fake
games. Yeah.
games, yeah. Like Sugar Rush is literally just Mario Kart with a new skin.
Yeah.
I was like, so I wasn't sure because I was mixing up Sugar Rush with like Candy Crush, and it's like Candy Crush meets Mario Kart essentially.
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
game.
it's literally just like
It's
Sugar
their love
Rush
child.
sounds like a game though. That sounds like a real
oh,
game.
absolutely,
It probably is one.
absolutely. I mean, yeah, I mean Disney owns it for sure though.
I'm sure there's one for sure now.
Yeah.
I think there's like a mini game in like a Disney game like one of the Kingdom Hearts games or like the Disney Online or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, he while at the bar, he runs into, there's a guy from another game who's in like this like monster metallic like armor, kind of like what it looks like what they wore.
He looks
in,
like a mix.
Was it was it the Edge of Tomorrow?
Edge of Tomorrow
With Tom Cruise and
the
Emily
time,
Blunt.
yeah. I really like that movie.
I have not seen that movie. It didn't.
Well, hopefully we can do it. Have you seen that, Josie?
I have seen that. Yes.
Okay,
Sorry.
we might need to do a review of that.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Any chance I get to come back.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Seriously. But yeah, he looks like a mixture between like Gears of War, like just like a giant, like ridiculously stocky, like muscular dude, and like the armor from Doom.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, it's just like a weird like future retro like FPS shooter game. And it's like, it's like climb the tower, shoot the bugs, get the medal. It's every day. We've only been out here for a week. He's like got full blown PTSD and is freaking out.
And yeah,
which is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, if that was my whole life, that'd be hell.
But I love when Ralph first sees him. The guy's walking and talking, and he's at a wall, and he's still walking, because that is what exactly happens when you're playing a game and your character's just facing the wall. They just keep walking.
Yeah,
we had a.
He's just glitching into the geometry.
We had it was a Deathly Hallows like Wii game or PS. It was a Wii game or something, and my sister's playing it, and Hermione's like doing over in the background doing Expecto Patronum at a wall. And she's like, it's not working. It's like, yeah, because you're at a wall. It's not gonna work. Like, but I thought that was just
not with that attitude.
I thought that him walking at the wall was just such a nice touch.
Yeah.
But anyway,
there's just a lot of like fun video game stuff. Like even like right before that, when he's like shifting through like all the stuff in like the Lost and Found bin in that game, like he finds like a mushroom from Super Mario. He finds like Zangief's loincloth, and he finds like, this is probably one of my favorites, is the exclamation point from like a Metal Gear Solid game that shows up over the guards when they see you, and even had the sound effect of the ding.
Yeah, I didn't know. It was like,
it
looked familiar. I didn't know exactly what game that was from, but that was a nice little way to have some Easter eggs for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, he's looking for a medal. He meets this guy. He ends up basically taking the guy's armor and then deciding to go sneak into the game, which is Hero's Duty. Is that a real? What's that game mimicking? Like,
I think it's
just
Call of Duty in a way.
Yeah, it's just like Call of Duty meets Halo. It's just like pretty much like every
generic
FPS that is like pretty much every FPS that has ever existed in the past decade is pretty much what that game is.
As generic as possible.
Yeah, as generic and as sci-fi as possible. And Jane Lynch is in it, and she is fantastic.
She's awesome. Yeah, so this is her character name is Calhoun, and she is like the badass leader of this squad and
group of space marines.
And when Ralph says something about her, someone's like, it's not her fault. She has the most tragic backstory. And it's just her at her wedding, and then a bunch of these like bug things attack. And she just pulls out like a gun under her dress and starts shooting. And like I was like, oh god. And so Ralph goes into this game and he is definitely not equipped for it. I was like freaking out. I'm like, you're gonna die. You're gonna die. Like, what? You gotta get out. And this is when Fix It Felix game, they're starting the day and Ralph is not there. So what happens is that...
Yeah, which I'm very confused at.
What do you mean? Like how... why they're like, I don't know like why he's not here. It's like, what do you think, you morons?
Yeah.
I agree with that. Like, even later, Fix It Felix is like, when Calhoun's like, why did he run off? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, really? Well, I don't get why it's that difficult to put it together. You guys all were yelling at him how he sucks and now no one's going to ever like him. And why do you think he ran off? Or no, going turbo, which...
Yeah, the big reference in
yeah, they keep saying it's like, oh, did he go turbo? And they say this throughout the, like, pretty much half of the game. They say this with no real...
Qbert.
Yeah,
Qbert's the one who first introduces it.
Yeah. Yeah, they mention that like multiple times throughout the series, and
so going turbo
throughout the movie, and it's not explained to like, I want to say like a good like halfway through the movie.
But I will say, based on the context, I was like, I understood what that meant. But yeah, no. So they explained about halfway through the movie that there was another game. It was like a turbo. Turbo Test. It was what was the game name? It was Turbo what?
I think it's just Turbo Racers or something.
Yeah, it was just a generic racing game called Turbo
and
or something
when
like
another,
that. Turbo Man.
Super old school.
When another game that was similar but brand new came in, Turbo got jealous, went into the game, and basically, because, you know, when there's anything goes wrong or like a character doesn't appear, it kind of seems like, oh, something's wrong with the game. It's glitching or whatever. And this game, especially, both of these games went out of order. And so they called going turbo because if you leave your game and kind of go like AWOL, you're endangering the game you're from as well as the one you're in a nutshell. Which I really like.
Both those games ended up getting unplugged and were taken away.
I just really love that whole. It's, I don't know. It was. I don't know. Like I said, the design and it's so creative. Like the way it's almost like it's a little bit like how Toy Story. You know, but they come to life, but different because they're not trying to. They can't leave the game, but like there's just this whole world that like we just see it on the screen, but there's something else going on behind the screen. I love how there is a screen though. Like they do acknowledge that they do acknowledge the parameters and the boundaries.
Yeah, it's not like it's not like a Night in the Museum kind of thing where it's like they still have like they retain the memories of who they're supposed to be modeled after. Like he only like Robin Williams only knew that he was Teddy Roosevelt because he was made to look like Teddy Roosevelt, and he had no memory or no real like experience outside of what his life would be like out of the museum.
Yeah. So basically at this end, Felix, and Calhoun end up teaming up, which is, so actually, wait, I'm getting ahead. So it's the start of the day. Some girl's playing Fix It Felix, and because Ralph isn't there, they think there's a glitch, there's something wrong, it's out of order. And if it can't get fixed, they're going to pull the plug on the game. And all of these
by tomorrow.
And I kind of love how they're not all these characters. They won't be dead. They'll just be out of the game and out. It's like they're out of work, which is like what an interesting way of looking at it.
They'll be homeless like Qbert and a lot of the other like unplugged games in what was it called, like Game Central Station or something like that.
Yeah. And so Felix, being the fixer, has to go find Ralph, and this is when he teams up with Calhoun. And during the Hero's Duty game, so Ralph figures out where he's, of course, terrible at this, and basically goes up to the screen where this girl is playing and says, "Help me, get me out!" And she's like, "What the fuck?" Like,
it's like when did video games become so violent?
And Calhoun, and I love how again, there's a screen. There is a kid playing this game, and in the game, there's this like computer. Think of like Karen from Plankton. This like computer, whatever, with a head like shows up, and that's the screen, and they're still talking. Like, it's so weird. It's like I don't know how to. It's really 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 smart and well done.
It's like, very smart. It's
it's just a drone it's like kind of like a tank tread's connected to a monitor with like robotic arms, so it's using like the rifle the same as like the kid outside the game is using.
Yeah.
And so Ralph ends up figuring out where the medal is, and so he just decides to just go up there and get it. And this is when Felix enters, and the thing is, so he ends up getting the medal, and then of course setting off all these bugs who are they're in their eggs. They get, hashed. One attaches to his face. He lands in an escape pod and then just is like gets out of the game. And of course they have to follow him, and he lands in Sugar Rush, which is just like candy and like oh that God, I gotta say, the design and the puns for Sugar Rush were so great. Like, they're just sitting in a room, like, oh, laughing taffy, but Nest quicksand. I'm like, like it was so great.
What one of my favorite puns is when King Candy, he says he has two distinct puns in this movie that made me laugh so hard, and one was you wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you? And Ralph takes his glasses up and hits him with it. It's like, you hit a guy with glasses. Well played. And the other one was it's like, oh sir, have you been hit? It's like, no, he just glazed me. It's like, oh Jesus Christ. Because they shot like frosting at him or something. It's like, he just glazed me.
There was actually later, so Felix and Calhoun, that they follow Ralph, and he falls in love with Calhoun, which I thought was adorable, and I was so rooting for them. But she says something. Says something about her being like,
you're just a dynamite gal.
No, wait, this is later. Wait. I have something to say about that. No, like he says something about she like gives me like a honey glaze or something like that, or it was something, and I'm like, what?
Honeydew.
I was like, I was like, what? What are you saying? What do these words mean? I kind of just had to push it out of my head and like keep going because I don't want to dig that. But yeah, so.
Yeah, no, he basically talks like he's like from like the 60s, like, oh wow, she's a real swell lady. It's like, I wouldn't mind taking her. Yeah. I wouldn't mind taking her to a hootenanny. It's like, what are you talking about?
So when Felix and Calhoun land, he's started to fall in love with her. Or no, they land in the quicksand. They realize that, so they're sinking. The laughing taffies. He's freaking out. She punches him in the face, and the laughing taffies, which is Laffy Taffy, are just like coming down, and they use that to like pull themselves up. And she just was like looking at him with so much like admiration, and like the Laffy Taffies make like a heart around them. I was just like, oh my God. But I don't know. It was a little later. He says, "Wow, you're a dynamite lady," and then she gets these flashbacks of her fiance. The first time they meet, you're a dynamite lady. They're at dinner. You're a dynamite lady. They're at their wedding. You're a dynamite lady. A dynamite gal. A dynamite gal. That's what
dynamite gal. Yeah.
And I'm just like,
and then crash through the wedding.
That's all he says. I was dying. So
that's the only dialogue that they ever share together. Is like,
dynamite
you're a dynamite gal. It's like, I'm dying. You're a dynamite gal. The pain.
So, it's just the backstory. There's no details.
Yeah.
You get cute montage at best.
So,
hey, at least he had a speaking role.
He did have a speaking role.
So, yeah.
It took him weeks to remember his lines. You're a dynamite lady? No, stupid, that's not it.
You're a dynamite. Amateur. You're a dynamite female? Gah!
You're an explosive pal.
Yeah, explosive pal.
Is this what romance was in the old time?
In the old time.
Sure thing. Now let me take you a hootenanny.
Yesterday, or last night, so there was the, like, all these, like, musicians kind of have, like, it was like an at-home concert. They're each in their houses, like, playing whatever. And it got to Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello and Mike Cabello. Sorry, I don't know. I don't really listen to her. And my dad,
I don't know.
I know, like, her, but I didn't really know her name. My mom's like, who's that? I'm like, I know it, but anyway, my dad, because Sean's just like playing the guitar, and my dad's like, are they going together? And I'm like, what the hell? Like, what are you, from the 60s? Like, what the hell? And my mom was like laughing too, and he's like, I am from the 60s. So I should have said the 50s, but still. I was more laughing at like, what the hell? Like, okay.
Are they going
yes.
steady?
I'm like, no, Dad, they do fancy each other though. Like, so
I hear he's courting her right now.
Oh gosh.
okay. Anyway, so Ralph crash lands in the Sugar Rush game.
And brings one of the cyber bugs with it.
And it it falls into some like lake of like purple like goo, and it's like, oh, it's dead. We're done with it. Whatever. And it's not until a little later,
foreshadowing.
Calhoun. Part of the reason that Felix and Calhoun are following Ralph is because it probably didn't die, but either way, she knows that it'll just multiply and it'll just destroy everything, and so we gotta get rid of it. And
yeah, one thing about the cyborgs is that they act like they don't realize that they're in a game. They're mainly just programmed to eat, destroy, and multiply, and just become whatever they eat.
Yeah.
So that was one thing about this. Like, hey, it's like, why are they acting differently like everyone else in all of their games when everyone else just kind of acts normally outside and out of character whenever they're not playing? Whereas these things they keep going and they don't stop. It's like, oh, that's kind of a cool thing. I kind of wish that it was kind of explained more. It's like, are there other, like, how come the zombies have sentience?
Yeah.
It's like literally, like, we have a zombie in like their Alcoholics Anonymous group, and he like gives like this heartfelt speech, like, no, Zangief say you are bad guy, but that doesn't make you bad guy. It's like, okay, he can talk in full sentences. How come this thing is just an eating killing machine?
But Calhoun just kept saying like, it's a virus, and a virus is just going to keep spreading. And I'm like, this is hitting too close to home right now. When I was watching this, I'm like, wow, okay. Like, this is really unfortunate timing.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Anyway, so Ralph lands in the Sugar Rush Land game. I keep wanting to say planet, but
it basically is.
But his medal is gone. Oh no! And it sees, of course, it's up at the very, very top of like this candy cane whatever tree, and he's trying to climb it. And then we meet Vanellope, who is like basically like she's just being there to annoy him, and like ends up taking it. And we see she takes it so she can pay a fee to race in. So when like when the arcade is closed in Sugar Rush Land, there's a race, and this determines who's going to be the on the like icon board,
the playable player, the playable players for the next day.
And she, of course, they're all like they're all really, really rude to her because she's glitching. She's a glitch. And when we first see her glitch, she's holding the medal. And because I thought it was my first thought was maybe it was because it was something from not this game. It was from a different game, and it was messing with her code or something like that. That was my first thought.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out, oh no, she's glitched and she's just like this, and everyone hates her. Which is like, fuck you guys. They all were horrible to her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, they this was another joke. It's like, oh man, those children of the candy corn kids.
I know.
That's a good one.
That's like, I was like, yeah, no, that's a pretty solid description of these guys.
And so she, and it's so cute. She has, and basically they're trying to all these girls, all these bitchy girls are actually wait before this. So Ralph, in his attempt to get the medal back, he falls into some lake, and when he shows up later, he's covered in like green goo, and he's got like candy stuck to him, and he just looks like this monster.
Yeah.
And
everyone thinks he's a monster. He like falls on a cupcake, and these two cops
Dunkin'
who are
both
donuts. Yeah, they're Dunkin' Donuts, and they're just hitting him with like nightsticks, like quit resistance. Like, geez.
Which is a great thing.
We're getting
police brutality.
Yeah, it's like in a kids movie, it's like it's okay. It's not actually hurting him. He's saying "ow." It's like, oh no, he's fine. Yeah. He's the bad guy. That doesn't make it better.
I can't move. He's like, stop resisting, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I just loved later when they're trying to get the stuff off him, and he's still wearing the cupcake, and he's just like awkwardly running away in it, like.
Oh yeah.
just like waddling away.
They're chasing him with a chainsaw.
So does Vanellope get away or does she get arrested? He gets arrested and he's brought to the Candy King's palace. Which, first of all, so the Oreos are like his guards.
Oreo.
And they're standing around going, Oreo!
Yeah.
And my first thought was,
it's like that was
in the Broadway Wizard of Oz, so the like guards for the Wicked Witch, they do the similar, is that where that's from? They do this like similar like, Oreo.
No,
and
in the OG Wizard of Oz, they say "Oeo."
Yeah.
Oeo. Yeah, they
Yeah.
basically say the same thing, and it was just like a fun callback
it was very
joke.
yeah.
But then when I saw that they were Oreos and they were just saying
Oreo.
I was like, oh my god! I was like, just the puns and the jokes, like, oh god, it was so entertaining. And then Ralph, basically, it's revealed, oh, it's Ralph. What's he doing here? He needs his medal. He keeps saying he earned it, which is like, no, you didn't. You just took it from another game.
Yeah, you stole it, dude.
But basically, they don't want Vanellope to race, and she already paid with the coin, so there's with the medal, so there's nothing they can do, and they're trying to send him to the fungeon, the fun dungeon, which is like, okay. But this is when he kind of does his run away, and he's waddling away in his cupcake costume, and he ends up finding Vanellope, who's these girls are all destroying her car. And
just like, oh, you disgusting glitch! I'll never race with you. It's like, okay, kind of getting a little racist here.
I know. I will say they're saying that like you're glitch and and you can mess up and you can hurt other people, but like, okay, you don't need to be a bitch about it if that's the issue. Yeah. Clearly, that's not the only issue. Because like.
Yeah, you're a disgusting glitch, and I don't race with disgusting glitches. You glitch face, like racist glitch. Yeah.
So
they completely destroy it, and like, Ralph scares them off. It's like, and then they kind of come up with a deal of like, hey, you win this race, get my medal back, and I'll like help you out and like help you beat these guys and help you rebuild your car, because her car is completely destroyed by the other racers.
Yeah. And they team up and they go to the Cart Bakery. And she explains it's a mini game, and and I love how they acknowledge bonus levels and mini games. It's very nice touches, all throughout the movie. And they so they make the game. They have a minute to like make a car, and it comes out, and he thinks it's super ugly, but it's actually, I mean, it's not great, but it's cute, and she loves it.
It's functional.
Yeah, it's functional. And then learns she doesn't know how to drive, and and this is when the cops show up, and they end up go into her hideout, which is it a glitch that they basically just drive through a wall, and she said she found it a way back. It's like a Coca-Cola hot spring. And Mentos fall.
With Mentos stalagmites falling in.
Yeah, they like they say it by, it's like, oh, it's probably like a unfinished level that no one really got to. Like, it was supposed to be part of the race or game, but they just kind of abandoned it. But she found like an entrance to it, and that's how she like knew how to get into that place.
Yeah, it's like, I live here now. It's like, all right.
It explains this random
like death room, because like the Diet Coke geyser is like broiling hot and like almost kills they almost die because she like does like a practice race in her home, and like glitches in it, like hits some stalagmites and causes a bunch of Mentos to fall, and just like it's gushing everywhere, and like they almost burn. It's like, aside from us almost dying, you almost blowing up the whole mountain, like not a bad race. Like, oh, thanks.
So so nobody wants her to race. She's very, very like, I'm racing, and she keeps saying, I feel like I can tell it's in my code. I love how they say it's like in my soul or in my bones. No, it's in my code.
Yeah, it's in my code.
Yeah, my code.
And so they're practicing, and
to the hit song "Shut Up and Drive" by Rihanna.
Yes,
we're not gonna glide over that.
Yeah, a weirdly out of place. It was like kind of an out of place song for the rest of the movie.
I mean, it worked because it's a.
Shut up and drive,
I mean,
drive. It was like, what?
It worked because it was a song about driving.
I mean,
but
yes.
It was funny because that was an old song then.
Yes.
Like, I remember that song was
Yeah.
like that album of Rihanna, I remember was like middle school playlists, you know, with like Disturbia and like all those songs. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Or
No, 100%.
there's another one. There's another one. I can't even think of it. It was the one that I heard.
It's the dance. It's the one on Dance Dance with Really. She's like, please don't stop the music.
Yes, that one. But anyway, they're all set. They're all about to go, and this is when the Candy
King.
Wait, no, we skipped ahead. So
King.
the Candy King, he goes into basically it's like the code. It's like the underlayer of the whole game.
Yeah, he basically goes into like the entire like network of the game, and he basically plugs himself into the Matrix.
Essentially, and he finds the metal, and he takes it. And then we see as he's leaving, and every time he did anything, I'm like, why is he doing this? What's going on? It does become more obvious as it goes on. I thought he was just random king of this game, but no, he's the villain. And
okay,
it was but it wasn't like at the time. I just thought he was going to be random. I didn't think he was going to be that important.
Yeah,
and then no, he's important. He's voiced by Alan Tudyk, who is always Alan Tudyk. It seems to be in every animated movie ever, but he never seems to have like a big role. He's always just there. So I was like,
I feel like he had a pretty big role in this.
I know, but I mean in general, I feel like
okay.
But he got like he was in Moana. I think he was the droid in Rogue One.
Yeah.
He does a lot of the like voices and sounds he has a good repertoire. It's like between actual characters and just a character that doesn't really talk. I think in Moana he was the chicken.
Was he the chicken?
So he's just
I think he was in
I think so. Yeah,
he was like in Big Hero 6, Zootopia. He did a lot of Disney. And then
in Big Hero 6,
yeah, he was also K2SO in Rogue One, which is also Disney.
Wait, who was? I'm trying to think of. Was he? I think he was. I'm thinking. I can see the guy's face in Big Hero 6. I can't think of his name. It's the guy that we think is the bad guy, but he's not in Big Hero 6. Cray.
Oh,
yeah, is he that guy?
He's
I think so. It's been a while since I've seen Big Hero 6.
Yeah, no, he's Cray.
He's the that's the like the
red herring,
like industry mogul, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
God, I love Big Hero 6. But anyway, back to Wreck-It Ralph.
Anyway, back to the movie. King Candy basically explains to Ralph's like, hey, we can't let Vanellope race this game because if the player sees her glitching out, then they'll think the game is broken and will get shut down. And since she's a glitch and can't leave the game, if this game gets unplugged, she's gonna die with the game. It's like, oh, that's a really heavy
Which
stuff
is a
right
very
there.
convincing case, by the way.
That's what I was thinking the exact same thing. I'm like, that is a solid reason. But that
it's like I find no malice in that whatsoever.
100%.
Like, that is like
it's
like it's like damn, I can't argue with that. It's like even if he's lying, that's still
irrelevant.
A huge risk. Like that's a huge risk even if he's lying. If he's lying, it's like okay, that's a good lie.
And then I think what like tops it all off is that like it's not just they'll get unplugged, it's that she won't be able to leave.
And she'll
I think that's what really hits. Yeah, she will die with the game because she's a glitch and can't leave, which is proven later on in the movie. But I think that's what really hits Ralph, because Ralph is still like, the players can love her, like it's not the end, it doesn't really matter if the game's still working, she comes back. It's not like she glitches and disappears.
No, she will. Angela. That's the thing, though. It's like I'm curious because they're saying she's a glitch. Is that the same thing as being a virus, or she just is a glitch? Because
no, she basically exists in the game, but like her code is corrupted, and that's why she's constantly glitching.
Because then I'm still like, why can't she leave? Like, because she's a glitch.
In the Matrix room, in the Matrix room, she's not attached to the game.
So, you're right. Exactly. Okay.
Yeah, so if anything happens to the game, it's like she can't reboot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's just lost.
Wait, if she's not attached to the game, then wouldn't she be able to leave?
No, she's in the game, but she's not like directly attached to like the core, so she's basically rooted where she is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the whole movie though, I was when I was wondering though, why does she glitch? And I couldn't wait to find out why she was glitching. And I was wondering if we were gonna find out, and then we do. So,
and then guess what?
And then we do.
So we see that she's not rooted, and she's stuck in this game. The king comes and finds Ralph, tells him all this, and leaves. And Ralph is, and to make it even more heartbreaking, so Calliope had gone inside. She's like, wait, I forgot something. She made her own medal for him, and it's like candy.
It's like,
on one side it says
feels.
stink brain, and the other side says you're my hero, or be my hero. And it was just so sweet. And he basically says you can't race, it's not worth it. And she's like, no, I'm gonna do. And then he destroys it. He basically picks her up, hangs her in a tree, and destroys her car, which I was like, oh, like, yeah, it's pretty sad.
It's an intense scene. It was a pretty like
and she's crying. It's like, you really are a bad guy. It's like, oh damn.
So
that hit hard.
No reason to stay now. Couldn't they have a really, really adorable relationship? They've got good chemistry. They're really fun together. They're both outsiders, and he ends up going back to Fix-It Felix, the game.
Yeah, but before he does that, we see Fix-It Felix and Jane Lynch's character. They like split up because he like it's like, oh wow, I really like you.
You're
and
a dynamite gal.
Like kicks him out. It's like, I got a job. It's like, I got a job to do. Get out. It's like, oh okay. And he's looking for Ralph, and she's looking for the bug. And as he's looking for them, it's like, one of like the king's like minions like, you're a friend of Wreck-It Ralph, and he basically throws him into
jail.
the dungeon. Not the fungeon, the dungeon.
In the dungeon, it was really just like, it wasn't bad. It had some nice tiles, and there was a window. I'm like, this isn't that bad. Of like,
it's like, yeah, this is
I
nice.
love it though when he tries to escape. Like, I have to get out of here, and he notices that one of the rails, which is like a chocolate stick or something, is kind of loose. And he's like, oh, if I hit it with my hammer, it'll come out loose. And then it like makes it stronger.
It's like, why do I fix everything I touch? Like, geez, that's hilarious.
So,
But Ralph goes back to his original game, finds that everyone left, and like, there's only like one guy there. It's like, congratulations, you got a medal. I'm a man of my word. You can live in the penthouse. Like, this isn't what I wanted. Well, what did you want? It's like, I just didn't want to live alone in the garbage. Like, well, congratulations, you can live alone in the penthouse. And he leaves.
Which
like,
also hurts. Everything in this game towards the end just starts hurting. Like,
I think it's just.
I mean, that's just Pixar.
This isn't Pixar though, right? This isn't Pixar. This is just Disney. But,
Disney.
I mean, it's still.
No,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is Pixar.
This isn't Pixar. I don't think so. I think it's just
whatever.
It's just
I mean, yes, but no, like
Disney is
I mean,
Pixar.
does it have the same emotional roller coaster as a Pixar movie? Yes, but I don't think it is. I mean, it could be. It could be, but I don't think it is. Anyway, moving on. So
I'm gonna look this up.
But like, I gotta say, so like, yeah, they all are. It's that one guy who basically said, if you ever got a medal, yes, fine, you could be part of whatever. But like, I don't know, I got annoyed. Like, yes, it is his fault because he did leave and that he did mess this all up. But like, I don't know. I just want them to like, do you realize that you guys are partly to blame on the reason that he left? Can you fucking acknowledge it?
Do.
Yeah,
you short little asshole.
Oh yeah, no, they have zero like acknowledgement
their own
on, like, their part.
That always fucking pisses me off in movies when someone says something or does something, it causes a reaction, someone does something else, and then it makes things worse. And it's like, no, you're to blame. Acknowledge it. Like, so they don't, and they just all like, no, we all left because we're all they're pulling the plug on the game tomorrow. And
and it's all your fault. Nothing to do with us bullying you for 30 years. Completely your fault because you left.
But but as he's kind of like contemplating, is like, oh wow, I've just ruined everything. He like throws like his hero's duty medal at the screen, and it causes the out of order sign to like tilt, and he can see the Sugar Rush like arcade cabinet, and he sees Vanellope on like the side of it. It's like, wait, why is there a glitch character on the side, like a prominent display of the artwork? So he runs back there and interrogates the guy who arrested Felix, like, hey, like, what's the deal? It's like, King Candy erased all of our memories. Like, okay, and this guy's weirdly fine with
Or no,
that.
he
He's
only
weirdly fine
remembers
with his like
enough.
He
entire
knows
memory.
he doesn't remember why. He just knows it happened, and so he can't be like. But he's like a hard candy, like a simple, just plain hard candy.
Yeah, he's
And so
he's like he's like
a sweet and
or
sour.
a
like
sour, sweet and sour. And
Yeah.
Ralph puts him. He's like, fine, he like puts him in his mouth and like trying to get him to talk. And then he just, when he gets like the information, he's like, he says like, yeah, okay, the king. That yeah, it wasn't. He said, yeah, she used to be a racer. He like, we know that much, but the king wiped everyone's memories. We don't know why. And the thing was, up until throughout the movie, I was kind of it wasn't really any clues. I mean, yes, there were clues that he was a bad guy, but I was starting to guess that he was Turbo, the Turbo driver guy.
Yeah,
I was starting to like. I was like, I think he's the Turbo guy. Like that, as it went on, it made more and more sense. Yeah. And then during the race, he morphs back into the Turbo guy, and I'm like, oh my god! But
because when he like Ralph kind of like goes back in there because he learns from like interrogating sour gumdrop guy. It's like, if she finishes the race, then the game will reset and everyone's memories will get back. So he busts Felix out and like takes what like the remains of like the go-kart, have him fix it, and then he rescues Vanellope and then throws her in the race right after it started.
And she just basically destroys everybody except the king.
Yeah.
With the king though, was he driving beforehand?
No, he started with everyone, but he was in first place.
No, I mean like the first race that they were gonna have until like Ralph and her, like the whole fight.
Yeah.
He threw a coin. And it's like he was like the first one on the leaderboard.
Oh, okay, because he was in his little high stand.
Yeah,
place,
but he makes the things just like, but me first.
Yeah. Oh, okay, right.
And then everyone else
goes. Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, they're all racing, and it definitely has a lot of similarities to Mario Kart. Like there were a lot based mainly not
the
cherry
random blocks.
Oh my god, I was fucking dying. Yeah. So there's the part where one of them gets like an ice cream cone, shoots an ice cream on one of them, and then it goes, and like on the like jump screen, on the mode. Oh my god, like yeah, the puns, they just never stop, but they're so good. Like, oh god, this must have been so much fun to like. They're probably making a list of these, like.
I'm sure they cut like 14. Yeah, 14 puns did not make it into the final cut. They're like, this scene is 2 minutes long. I'm like, I don't know, 27 puns sounds like a good amount number.
Yeah, it's like I don't get what the problem is.
But they're well placed puns.
Very well placed. Yeah.
Pun. Like they're appropriately placed, and so they're not annoying.
Yeah.
They're entertaining.
They're animated.
They're entertaining. Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
sometimes they're painful.
So during
it's a little painful.
So they're doing a race, and basically she doesn't need to win. She just needs to cross the finish line. But she's like, no, I'm gonna win this, and goes. And yeah, and it just is like kicking everyone's ass, and then it's just between her and the king, and he basically, her car ends up partly on his, and this is when he starts to morph, and Felix and Ralph are watching, and they're like, see that? Oh my god, it's Turbo Racer! It was a very nice, like, I was literally like, oh my god! I was so excited.
It was scary. It was kind of scary.
Yeah, no, it was really weird seeing like an 8-bit kind of character. Like,
which I love, by the way.
Yeah, like he did kind of like morph into like, he kept shifting between like his like King Candy disguise to like a 3D version of Turbo, and then like his like original like 8-bit version, all like kind of happening at once, and it was really trippy and cool to watch that. And then Jane Lynch shows up, is like, "Oh my god, we got bugs everywhere!" And then they literally just pour out of the ground, and just start eating everything, and it's just like,
Oh yeah,
oh,
this is when the bugs become relevant again because
yeah,
she discovers that there's like a sea of like unhatched eggs
Yeah, it's like,
under like all
Oh,
of Candy Crush, and then that's when they become
and
like
she
a
says,
problem. They're like, this
and
game's
she says
over.
the best line ever. She says, "Doomsday and Armageddon just had a baby, and it's ugly."
And it's ugly.
yeah, she constantly says like the cheesiest like action movie lines, like,
Oh
"Time to make
yeah.
your mama proud." Day, it's like, I love my mama.
I love my mom.
So, basically, yeah, like, Vanellope has been trying really hard. She's glitched a few times, and she's trying really hard to not glitch, and now she realizes that glitching is going to save her because she'll glitch and move ahead. So she glitches, goes ahead, and then the king gets eaten by one of the bugs, or so we think, or maybe
Yeah.
he does. But she is about to make it to the end, and then basically everyone's evacuating. The bugs overtake the finishing line, and they try to get they can't. She can't leave. She can't leave because she's a glitch. And then they're basically just, it's like the end of the road. They're all about to die, and then the king shows up, and he's now part king, part turbo guy, part bug. And it's and he's like fighting with Ralph, and it's pretty like it's pretty wild.
Yeah, well, before
it's a very one-sided fight because Ralph, like, oh wait, I know how to stop them. We're gonna blow up the mountain, and that'll attract all the bugs, and they'll all die. Because apparently the only way to kill all the bugs is that
they need a beacon.
They need a beacon for them to get attracted to, and they'll just fly into it and die because that's their purpose. That's how you kill them. Aside from just shooting them a lot, which there's only one person with a gun, which I'm kind of surprised that Disney allowed guns to be in this. They're not normally normally a lot of the times in like kids movies and TV shows. After like a certain point of time, I want to say like early 2000s, they stopped having people use guns. They just had them use like lasers.
Well, I think this was a laser. Bullets. It wasn't really like a kind of like bullet. It did have a green.
It looked very much like bullets. I think it was just like a green tint on like the actual gun.
But I think that's the only way they were able to do it. They're like,
like for the most part, that just straight up looked like an assault rifle and a pistol. Like those were bullets coming out of that gun.
They were just like right before they actually like green lighted this movie. They're like, can we make it like green? And they're like, what?
It's like,
they're like, just make it green and then it'll be fine. They're like, okay, add some green.
Yeah, it's like it was just slightly green muzzle flashes.
So,
they're like, see, it's a laser.
So, Ralph essentially realizes he's trying to fight the King Turbo Bug guy, and it's kind of a losing battle. He's struggling. He goes to the mountain trying to get like knock as many of the Mentos into the hot spring so it'll explode. And this is when he gets into the fight, and then he's way high above, and he sees they're like in the air. He sees that Calliope is basically they're all just and Vanellope and Felix and Calhoun are all about to be just they're done for, and then he falls down towards the mountain, and he's saying the whole like little speech that they give at the end of the meeting, which is I'm bad and that's good. It's like, I'll never be good, and that's not bad. There's no one I'd rather be than me.
Me.
Really
quick.
Like,
oh my
God. You guys were talking, I was trying to look up that quote, and I found like a thing on YouTube. I mean, it's on IMDb, but I didn't want to scroll through the whole thing and not be there, so I was just looking it up, and I found like a YouTube clip of it, and I found one of the comments says, "There's no one I'd rather be than Shrek." Just at the end, I'm like, okay.
Like what? Oh God.
But anyway, this causes everything to basically this creates a beacon. All of the bugs are like getting pulled into it because they're going after the shining light. And even the turbo guy, he's just like, no, but it's so shiny, and then just goes into it. like okay.
Yeah. and
Very
dies,
moth to flame type of deal.
and Vanellope like glitches her way back to her go-kart and like glitches her way all the way back to Ralph and saves him
in record time, by the way. Like,
yeah, they're like across the map. Like the mountain's like is so small in the distance, and in real life, like the mountain is giant.
yeah.
And so she gets she gets to him, and Felix like fixes the finish line with his magic hammer, his Mjolnir, and she crosses the race, and it resets the whole game, and it fixes everything, and everyone gets their memories back, and we discovered that she's a Disney princess. Oh.
No.
And then I love all the girls
Yeah.
who were mean to her. Were like, we're so sorry you were mean. We didn't know, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I decree that all the people that were mean to me be executed. And they're like, oh, God.
Yeah, and
Calhoun is just like, oh, okay, yeah.
And Jane Lynch is all for it. It's like, this place just got
And then
good.
she's like,
I was like, I'm gonna stick
and
around.
she's like, no, I'm just kidding. And basically wants to be president and not princess. And I'm like, that's nice. That's nice. Democracy. And basically they have to, Ralph and Felix, it's basically Vanellope and Ralph say their byes. I mean, obviously they're still gonna be friends and whatnot, but he has to go back to his game. But it's so nice now because now they, not only does everybody respect him,
they respect him
all
now.
of the other homeless game characters, they all join the game like on a bonus level to not like mess with the whole thing. And he gets a cake, and they all appreciate it like he wanted in the beginning. And there's a point towards the end of the day where he says he sees on the Sugar Rush game, he sees Vanellope racing, and it's definitely that's kind of the end of the movie, unless I'm missing something.
Yeah. No, he's telling all of this in his like return meeting to the Villains Anonymous things. Like, it's like, and it's like, oh, and they're all like congratulating him. It's like, oh wow, you've really made a real turnaround there, Ralph. It's like, yeah, no, I'm just if that kid can like me for me, then I can like me for me. It's like, oh,
yeah, it's a great ending, great everything.
It's a solid movie. I still need to see the sequel though. I have yet to see that.
That's gonna
we'll.
I can't.
All right. Well, now I'm worried.
You should be.
Oh damn.
Oh no.
On a scale,
Sam, you've seen it, right?
No, I hadn't even seen the first one till today.
Right. Oh my god, both of you guys.
Sam doesn't watch movies.
Wreck-It Ralph was on my list.
You know that we were
Wreck-It Ralph.
We worked together for forever. She doesn't know movies. She only knows movies that she's seen.
Okay.
God.
That you've seen.
Why the fuck are we here then?
Yeah.
God. Like,
and welcome back to movie.
God.
Come back when you've seen a real movie.
But Wreck-It Ralph was on my list, and now it is now off my list.
Woo! Now we only have like 250 more.
No, let me find it though.
Oh my god.
My watch list 120.
Jesus Christ!
Just update Wreck-It Ralph to Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph 2 is actually at the top of the list.
Breaks the internet.
Oh my god. Yeah, Wreck-It Ralph 2 breaks the internet, or is it just Ralph breaks the internet or something? I forget.
I think it's Ralph breaks the internet. It's not Wreck-It Ralph 2, but
I just remember I really wanted to see that because all of there was that whole scene with the Disney princesses, and they all showed up together at D23, and there was that whole that picture broke the internet. Like, I think the early ones aren't there, but like Jodie Benson was there, Paige O'Hara, like Judy.
I'm pretty sure like all the recent Disney princesses and all the Disney princess voice actors who are still alive from like their original like movies are in this movie, as far as I know.
Oh yeah, they are. But,
is it when you said before we started, you said that it was like heavy on a scale of 1 to Coco. Like, where?
This passes Coco
bar.
Oh, and
fuck.
Yeah, no. I want to say because I don't know if you heard when I was explaining this to Kevin, but it takes kind of a
Yes.
Inside Out type of
Oh
feel
no.
I haven't seen Inside Out.
where it's like, oh god,
No, you showed me. We were hanging out one time, and you showed me it was like a Disney Dapper Day, all these Disney Dapper Day pictures, and one was some couple, and it was from Inside Out, and I don't know. I just haven't seen Inside Out, and then I think Brother Bear.
Wait, you haven't seen? Wait,
and Good Dinosaur.
oh, you haven't seen those?
No.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
that's
I think
only 3 guys. Like it's okay.
It's deep. It's deep, and I mean deep, not like it's not like you're up.
Yeah.
Like you're not just gonna cry over this, but the message is insane. Like the lesson you're learning, and they ram it in. It's not subtle. I'm not a total fan of the second one as
much of this one.
Sequels go.
I've heard that the second one was kind of meh.
It's very rushed and fun fact, because I know way too much about Disney and everyone knows this. The second one is, like most sequels are, originally part of the first script that was supposed to be part of the first movie.
Okay.
Like, but they were just like, seems a little too busy, let's just shove it in another one.
Are you saying
so Wreck-It Ralph,
this is what like they Jurassic Park 3'd it?
Yes.
No.
I forgot that you turn things that aren't verbs into verbs.
The other day, my dad and I were watching Forrest Gump, and it made me think of when.
Oh God!
No, so a couple years ago, I was going to school.
Yeah.
We had a movie reel. We had a show to do, and I saw a feather floating in the wind, and I ran in and I like burst through the station. I'm like, guys, there's a feather outside. It's Forrest Gumping it, and everybody just looked at me like, what? Like,
I remember that. I remember that. I wish I
remember this conversation as well,
but I remember that now. God damn it!
No, I started doing it like from hanging out with Sam too much. I'm just like, oh, you mean like you're doing this as in this?
Yeah,
you're like, wait.
Yeah, you just turn like random nouns, and they're usually movie related, into verbs.
100%.
Yeah, like 90%. Yeah, it's like, oh, you totally like Batmaned it up. It's like, what does that even mean?
What does that mean?
Way to Christian Bale it, Kevin's like, what?
Actually, wait, when one time we were walking home from class, and that naked guy disappeared out of the frat house, and he ran past us, and we're like, okay. And we were talking about this, I remember, and you said, I don't know, you said something like, am I supposed to applaud him? Should I join him? And I'm like, yeah, he's like Forrest Gump, he represents hope. But
this has gone so far off the rails. We were originally talking about Wreck-It Ralph. How did we get here?
And now we're talking about.
I have another verb.
One more verb.
Nobody laughed at this other than my teacher in my creative writing class, and this is the only class I could have said this in. It was like about surrounded by a bunch of English people. So anyone that doesn't know, I was a creative writing minor, and in my I know. And God, I'm giving details. I'm giving a backstory. That's not tragic.
I'm sorry.
But one of the girls, she wrote one of her pieces. It was like it was like a part of a novel that she'd been working on, and it was like her family, and her mother was one of the characters, but her mom wasn't the main character. And I said, "Oh, you're Steinbecking it." Because like John Steinbeck would do that sometimes, and my teacher was the only one that seemed to hear or laugh, and everyone else had that reaction. They were all like, they did. I don't think they heard me, but he was like, like he got my English pun. Like,
it's the most remote people who could ever understand your references.
That's the only specific niche of people that would ever find that funny.
Don't you?
Okay, when we went to Disneyland as a group.
We need to do that
And
again.
I brought my friend who dropped me off, right?
Which one?
He was so lost. So lost.
Which one?
When he went to go drop me off at the hotel, he was like, your friends are interesting, and I understand why you're friends. And I'm like, how so? He's like, because you all talked, but you guys never really talked about anything. You guys... And I was like, wait, what? Because, like, we would just quote things. And that was our entire conversation, was just quotes on different movies, which somehow led to other quotes from different movies.
Wait.
And he said, you guys talked for 2 hours, and I have no idea what you talked about.
Wait, was this the guy on the first day or the second day?
No, this is the one we were at the pizza place on downtown, like the first night. Like, we all just got together.
Okay.
Oh my god! That's
I
so
was-
true!
We were just quoting John Mulaney.
Yes! We were just 2 weeks ago. I was driving home at night. And I was listening on Spotify. It's only the first one, New in Town. John Mulaney's New in Town is on Spotify,
Yes.
and I was listening to it. I know it way too well. I was quoting almost all
by heart.
I think there are some pieces I don't remember, but I know it's almost. I one time I was doing a game with my friends the whole thing was you're trying to make them laugh so they spit water out of their mouth or something.
Oh yeah.
And I just I didn't get to finish, but I did the whole John Mulaney and Delta Airlines. Like okay, I did this and they were all just like, God damn it. Like I just know John Mulaney too well. Or they were all just like, cause I just know, we know John Mulaney way too well. I was thinking about this the other day though, the guy, on the second day. So Kevin, you introduced a really good game.
Hi. Yes. 20. This is a running thing with my family. Whenever we go to Disneyland and we're in a line for a long time, we play 20 questions, somewhat relevant to whatever ride we're in line for. So whenever we were in line for like Star Tours, it would be Star Wars related 20 questions.
Such as blue milk.
Yeah, blue milk was one of the things that you thought of, and I don't think we got that.
No one ever thought of it.
No, it was Josie's. It was because there were hints, and then I started thinking, it made me think of blue milk, which I thought, that's what I'm going to do on my turn. And then I just said blue milk, and it was blue milk. That's what kept happening. I just kept making a guess at the end, and then I would get it right. I don't know why.
And then I would just pick like the random, like really obscure characters. It's like, oh yeah, he was in this one episode of the show that one time for 5 minutes. Like,
and I'm like, why would you choose the background character? I think it was like Indiana Jones, and from like I was like, what are you talking about right now? Like, I was so lost, and I was like, okay, I haven't seen any of the Indiana Jones in like a while. Plus, you're speaking of a remote character who was on screen for maybe like 10 seconds.
Hello.
That's just how I do, baby. Yeah.
Also, Indiana Jones, the song.
Oh yeah, from.
Can we sing that on this? I don't know if we can sing that.
I don't think we can, but it was an old YouTube video by a guy named Golden Tusk who did a bunch of compilations of videos by taking all these like iconic theme songs like Indiana Jones, Star Wars, Saw, Jaws, you name it, and would put lyrics to them. And one of my favorite ones is him putting lyrics to the Indiana Jones theme. And I only remember
I want to sing it so bad.
So I sing it every time. Every time I go on that right now, I think about it, and it's the only thing I think about.
And we only know that first line. That was the only.
We tried so hard to learn.
I only know that first line. I must have listened to that thing like many times back in the day when I first like found out about him.
But we just kept singing that one line. We're going into the onto the ride, and no one seems to care. But we're just like, all we know is that one part, and we just kept doing that one line over.
It got to a point where we were just screaming that, and I'm pretty sure people were getting really fucking annoyed with us.
But I was thinking, Josie, the guy, your friend on the second day when we were on the Goofy ride on California Adventure, and again, it was it had to be something related to Goofy, the 20 questions, and I don't remember whose turn it was, but it was a character, and he went, "Oh, is it Goofy?" And we all just like lost our minds. Like, we all thought that was so funny. Like, it's a character. It's a character in the Goofy universe. Is it Goofy? And then we all just like cried.
Damn it!
I was like, "Well, there you go."
We need to do that again.
We definitely need to plan another Disney trip. That'd be the greatest.
Once it's open.
Step one: survive the quarantine.
Oh
Yes.
God.
Yeah.
No, I really
So
want to do
on-
Dapper Day.
Yes.
It has to happen with
Next,
you, Sam.
when-
Like I
yes,
choose no one
yes,
else.
Yes, please, please.
Oh, well, I'm
please.
offended.
No, let's all
Kevin,
go.
you
I
may
want to go
come.
so bad. I want to go so bad. Oh my god, I'm dying to go. Actually, what Kevin's previous roommate once said how whenever I get really excited about something, I clench my teeth and
Jesus.
I'll be like, oh my god, I want to do that. I do that, and
Yep.
somehow it came. Yeah, and somehow it came up.
That
something
and the T-Rex. You
The T-Rex
T-Rex it.
arms.
Yep.
Ugh.
All right, this podcast has just turned into us riffing on each
So
other.
Wreck-It Ralph
which
overall,
actually,
like, amazing film.
Yeah, yeah, Wreck-It Ralph would recommend 8 out of 10. Go give it a watch. It's on Disney Plus right now. The sequel is on Netflix, and I'm probably gonna be watching that as soon as dinner's ready.
Yeah, it's definitely worth your time. It's really good. It's so creative. It's by Jennifer Lee. It was one of the, I think, the writers or let me check. One of the writers or creators. She went on to do Frozen.
Yes.
Nice.
Which, Frozen was.
It's Phil Johnson
a little bit of a hit.
And Jennifer Lee. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was one of the writers. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, it's definitely worth your time. I think
Definitely.
it's really entertaining, even if
Very
you're not
thought
into
out.
video games.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're a video game guy, then this is for you. If you're a Disney person, this is for you. If you're both, then this is the perfect movie for you.
Yeah.
If
it's just
you,
an overall great film.
And
Yeah.
if you love couples where one is several feet taller than the other and is a dynamite gal, and you like adorable relationships, then this is for you.
If you love PTSD, semi-fake guns, and I don't know, traumatic. I don't know.
You had me at PTSD. Sign me up.
You had me at P.
You had me at PTSD Bug War. Which reminds me, we need to do Starship Troopers soon, because that is all that movie is.
Yes.
It's a bug war. You need to watch the Starship Troopers musical, Starship.
Yes, I do.
Sorry, what?
Actually, Josie,
Yes.
you need to watch it too. It's by the same people that made a Harry Potter musical.
Oh my god.
It is super funny. It's my favorite. It's out of their musicals. I haven't seen the most recent ones, but it's definitely my favorite ones. My favorite one is Starship. It's really cool. Anyway, yeah, watch Wreck-It
This has
Ralph.
been
Or go to Disneyland.
This has been Movie Reel.
I'm Samantha Tomlinson.
I'm Kevin Tracy.
Joselyn Ponciano.
And you've been listening to Movie Reel. Bye-bye, folks.